Hi, divas! Welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to the very first episode of Alice's Book Club. I've read my first book of the year, and I was reading it, and I thought, why not talk about it? Because if there's one thing that I love, it's the sound of my own voice and reading. I would say that any like genre of book that I like to read is anywhere between like soft and regular core porn. And this is no different. It's called, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, not not Noctania. This will be a theme for the book as a whole because there was many things I could not pronounce, but like I gave my best effort, and sometimes that's all you can do. This book is by Keri Lake, and I became aware of it through TikTok, which is either going to be like the best book you've ever read or just like the actual worst thing you've ever read, ever in your life. You'll look at the book and you'll think, hey, these are words. They shouldn't have been together. I hear what you're asking. What's the book about, Alice? Well, I'm going to tell you, kind of. No, I am. I'm going to attempt to tell you, but I just so we're all aware of how this is going to work. I find it difficult to stay on track with one thought. My husband's coming home. Hi. I'm in the bedroom. I'm in the bedroom. I'm filming my YouTube. Can I have a kiss? Are you all wet? Oh no. Thank you. You close the door, please, baby. Catch you later. I have sex with him. So the book is about worms, and maybe that's all you need to know. But because I'm a great content creator, I'm going to tell you more. The book follows this girl called, and I'm guessing how this is pronounced, Lilia. We'll call her Lil. Okay. She has trauma. She basically, this all stems from the fact that she watched her mom die, and when her mom did die, like a load of black worms came out her mouth. And what makes it worse is that like everyone's like, Lil, that didn't happen. So like now she's got no mom, and everyone's calling her a liar. Give the girl a break. She's also probably just got her period. Smash forward 4 years, she's now 20 and of age, which I feel like is important. And thank you to this author for not making her freshly 18. And she wants to study medicine. She wants to learn about diseases so that she can figure out what this disease, the black worm disease, was, and she can cure it for people. So she's like doing like community college classes. And she gets given this assignment that is the most insane thing I've ever heard. She's asked to write about a fictitious disease. Like she's asked to make up a disease in her head. She's asked to maladaptive daydream a disease. Lil writes this fictitious disease paper about the black worm disease because she's like, I saw it with my own two eyes and y'all are gaslighting me. And her professor is like, gag it. How did this mamacita know about the black worm disease? Isn't it crazy that I happen to know an incredibly good looking and tortured professor who teaches this? So Lil gets sent to this university called Dracadia. And what's cute is that the university has its own little island. And I think what the author was going for was like a sexy Hogwarts vibe. But I fear I couldn't think of anything with Zoe 101. Ooh. She heads off to the school, and guys, you're never going to guess what happens. She's put into this sexy man's class. His name is Devryck. No, yeah, you heard me right. Devryck. Whatever happened to like Phil? Whatever happened to Phil? Or Brian or James? Deverick. I just an instant fanny dryer. Now on to my rating. I gave this a horde 2 stars, and if I'm being honest, girls, I think I might have been a bit generous. Let's go over the pros. sex, right? There's some of it in it. And I, strap me up and whip my ass. I like to read about sex, okay? Put me in the clinker. So this was hot. Was it though? Was it? Because some of the dialogue in the sexy scenes had me looking to camera B. Cons. First of all, what the fuck? Second of all, this book was the longest book I've ever read. I'm going to say like the first 60% of the book, the whole plot is she goes to school, she goes to classes, she goes to lunch, she gets a horn for her professor. Every woman's first semester of university. I want to talk about some of the evidence that I'll be bringing to court to defend my decision. Number one, never trust a man named Devryck. Let's go more into him, shall we? Girls, there will be spoilers because unfortunately, I don't have the ability to keep a secret. It's my only flaw. If you ever meet me in person, don't tell me something secret because I will be telling people unless I don't find it interesting, in which case, your secret's safe with me, baby. Deverick is a man, a grown man in his 30s, never specified exactly when. We do think in his mid 30s. So we're looking at an age gap romance. He teaches a class about worms mainly. From what I can gather from the descriptions of his laboratory, it's like candlelit, which like je t'aime, but doesn't seem like it would pass any kind of health and safety. So he's up there, also trying to figure out the whole kind of worm sitch. And it comes to light that the reason that he's doing it is because he's got this disease in which he's just like constantly in pain, but then at the same time can't feel anything. And how does that work? How does that work? He also had like a really mean dad because when is a character in these books ever going to have a functioning family? Dad's really mean and he has a twin brother. Basically, it comes to light that his twin brother got taken away for like some reason when they were teenagers, and then his like supposed ashes were sent to the family, therefore like proving that his twin is dead. Or is he? I have another disease. I cannot keep a secret. Also, like I can tell what's gonna happen in plot twists, which is really annoying, actually. Like it's actually really annoying being this clever. I don't know what that's about. My best friend tells me all the time, she's like, I don't know how you knew that was gonna happen. And I'm like, I don't know. It's because I'm a genius. It's because I've got people say you only use part of your brain. Me, I use a tiny bit more. But then that also means that the tiny bit more means that some of the important bits that are meant to be used aren't used at all. So it's um there's pros and there's cons. All you really need to know is Deverick is like a sad boy, but a sad man. And at that big age, it's like grow up. All these men need is like a 12-week therapy run. You know what I mean? Like they're not that complicated, and I think that they are. Nothing grinds my gears more than a man who thinks he's more complicated than therapy. What is that about? It's like I just met you, Deverick, and I'm gonna be like, first of all, daddy issues eh, out the wazoo, and like also maybe like get a friend, go on a date. He's also writing one of the teachers, um, because when he takes stuff out of the worms and injects it into himself, he like gets really horny, right? Like that makes sense, I think. Anyway, he sees Lil and he's like, I don't have time for women. But then Lil needs money, and her friend is like, hey, why don't you become a sex worker? And Lil is like, whoa, or like I could get a part-time job. Goes onto this site that's like very specific where it's like they want people to in public. Lil is desperate and she decides to go into Mr. Bramwell, Devryck's class and do it there. Anyway, she drops her phone. He picks it up and he's like, "You're not allowed to have my phone in your class. Other way around. You're not allowed to have your phone in my class." I'm so sorry. So then he takes the phone off her and like, "You're not allowed to look at what's on my phone." He's like, "Yeah, I know. I know the rules. I know GDPR. I know that." And she's like, "Okay, relax." Anyway, he goes and he watches the video. So he lied to her. Second reason you shouldn't trust him. He really likes mama likes what he sees. And he's like, "I can't function without her." Eh, Like, pussy so bomb, he like throws his morals out the window. Right. So like that's what's happening with them. But all this while, he's taking people off the street and killing them. Walk with me. Needs to have subjects to test if his worm juice that he gets from the worms is going to cure his illness. I think that's what that was about. So he finds the people that were involved with burning his brother alive and he decides to use those as test subjects. So he gets like the driver that drove his brother to the fire pit, I guess, and injects him with the disease. Now, for some reason, and I don't understand why, this guy's like pretty chill about it. And he kind of like, they kind of started a rapport. And while he's sitting in the cage dying, like he's just like chit chatting with Devryck. He's like, "So tell me about your dad," or whatever. Which like I know that myself, if I was imprisoned by a scary, sexy man and he was killing me, like I don't think I'd care. Like I don't think I'd care about frankly anything that was going on in his life because I have enough on my plate. This is going to be a disjointed thought from my last one, although from what I imagine you can gather already, there's no through line of any of my thoughts ever. I found it an interesting choice and really a moment I almost stopped reading, but I was like almost finished the book and I kind of felt like, we've come this far. Is Deverick needs a new subject to murder, essentially, and he goes down to like I want to say that like she like the author called it like meth lane or something like that. Like we could use a little bit more creativity, but like I'm not here to judge, except I am. And he picks up a prostitute and is like, "Oh, I'll just murder her," because. But then, right before he does it, he's like, "Oh no, but I fancy my girlfriend, and she's a woman, so I shouldn't murder this woman." No, I think we should sit in the silence of that for a moment. What do you mean? Second point of evidence: pacing. Slash, Mama, you need an editor. I have no idea why this book was so long. The pacing change from first 60% to the last, maybe like the first 70 to the last 30 is like insane. It's kind of like, the drop in that Lady Gaga song. She's dilly dallying, and then all of a sudden, two separate occasions, she's being threatened with the R word. And I said, "Whoa, can we take a breather?" My third piece of evidence is if your brother threatens to kill and R word your girlfriend, would you hug it out? It comes to light that Devrick's twin brother is alive. Spoiler, guys. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't understand why. And he's going around campus, like, posing as Devrick and, like, doing all this crazy stuff. And then he meets Lil and he's like, "Wouldn't mind a bit of that. Why don't we, why don't I force myself on you?" And she's like, "Hmm." And an interesting thought, but no. And then he's like, "Sorry." And she's like, "No bothers, babe." no worries. When in fact there's a lot of worries. Ooh, and then we find out at the very end that Lil's little sister is now being taught by Devryck's brother. And she's like, ha, wouldn't mind getting in my professor's pants. And Lil, instead of being like, literally call the police, she's like, no, stop. But I can't judge because I fucked my professor. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What is the message behind this book? I'm asking for like a 20-year-old and like a 33-year-old to be like doing the nasty. I'm like, I don't get it, but like I don't need to hear about it. Your sister's meant to be like 16 and he threatened to hurt you, mama. Number 4, inexplicably at the very end of the book, and it's just a line, and you could just pass it by, but like I'm pretty sure Devryck becomes an Airbnb host. Number 5, why does everyone know each other? They are meant to be from many, many, many miles away from each other, and for some reason, all of their lives are intertwined. Because Lil, back in her hometown, where she lives with her little sister's dad, not her dad, a confusing hazing arrangement, but nonetheless, he's got a friend whose name I forget, but like I want to say Alfredo. It's definitely not Alfredo. And she doesn't like him because he's a fucking creep, right? And like, fair enough. But then it comes to light that he is one of the people that like killed Devrick's brother. And I want to say, was there not someone more local? I guess the hitman freelancer business is maybe not as plentiful as I would think, but it's like shop local. Some of the dialogue was, I want to climb into the author's brain and be like, how did you come up with that? I have highlighted some. So this is during one of the sexy scenes. And this is a sentence that the author wrote. Okay. So she thought it and then she wrote it. And then she published it. I impaled myself over the monstrous fiend. Ha! The next book I'm reading is I am going to read Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. This is kind of like an old school um, historical romantic drama. I keep seeing on TikTok people say it's good now. Do I trust people on TikTok? Maybe not after the last one, but it should be fun. Read along. Because I feel like I didn't do an outro properly, and I always do that. Like I'll film something and then I'll just like won't say goodbye. So, bye, and thanks for watching. If anyone did, please don't look out my window and find out where I live.